funky bass groove. Pop it. Poppin'. Doo-doo-da-da. Snappy snare.
Welcome to Conversations in Pencil, the rough draft. This is a podcast for anyone starting over, feeling stuck, or searching for a way forward. We're fellow travellers. I'm Nathan, this is Tayla,
Hi.
and we're in the messy middle. Each week you'll find honest conversation, a tapping practice, which we'll explain as we go, and one small step that you can take today. You're not alone here. Every rough draft has value, including yours. Welcome. Hello, Tayla.
Ooh, hello, Nathan. How exciting.
Episode 1, the pilot episode.
Wow. Let's do this.
So, as we've discussed earlier, the first theme of our episode, why we're starting over and why you can too. Join us in this wonderful conversation. I'm going to open it up with Tayla and ask her if there was a moment that she can think of. Was there a moment for you, Tayla, where it was like, okay, it's time to start over for me?
This podcast is going to be healing for all of us. Putting me on the spot with everything. This is like a huge question. I've actually been thinking about it ever since we started to discuss what we were going to talk about in these podcasts. And I think there's actually been many moments I've had the opportunity to start over within the last 6 or 7 years of my life, now that I'm 31 years old, and sort of looking back at that time when I was younger and the things I could have done and could have changed or could have done differently. I think now is probably the time. Being 31, just recently getting out of a relationship, is the time to really start over. Yeah.
What a perfect time to start the podcast.
Yeah, I think so. What about you, Nathan? What do you think? When was your time to start over?
So it's interesting because I actually feel like I do this quite often, and I'm curious if sort of starting over is a bit of a coping mechanism or sweeping something under the carpet, or but this one feels different. About 12 months ago, I was just not in a great place and just finally realized a bunch of my shadows and patterns were playing out in the relationship that I was in, and I just didn't want it anymore. And I had a friend come to see me who is a tapping practitioner also, and she was in a similar situation. Got out of a relationship that was painful, caused a bunch of wounds, and she was sort of rebuilding again and looking at what she calls drastic accountability, or similar words to that. There's just this like, okay, I'm the one that's responsible for curating my life or conducting my life, so I'm basically going to be the one that can change it, and I'm going to make it exactly the way I want it. And so we sort of started swapping sessions between each other, tapping sessions every week. And for the past 12 months, probably over that now, I've been doing that. And the more I do it, the more I'm actually seeing all of these patterns playing out in my life, and the more control I feel like I've got over the choice in my life to go, this is what I want it to be. So I guess that's my big start over, and I feel like it's the first time in my life I actually went, yeah, I'm going to do this no matter what it takes. And I've
Mhm.
fallen over a
Yeah.
lot, which is why I feel like I've started over a lot. I guess the start over is not so linear. You sort of fall over a lot and you think, oh, okay, we'll start again. But it's not
I
true,
think
is it? Like, yeah. What do you
no,
think?
no, not at all. I think it's really important to mention too that Nathan and I are average people.
Mm,
Everyday average people. We're not experts. We're not people that know the ins and outs of everything. We're literally just talking about our experiences and hoping to find people that can relate and can go, oh, that was me at that time, and I can see where I am now and know that I'm not failing or I'm not behind or I'm not stuck. There's still heaps of average people out there, normal people going about their lives. Um, and you can come join our podcast and get these awesome ideas and advice and things that you can read and look into. I mean, Nathan and I still use ChatGPT. Like, we're we're not therapists by any means, but we're just normal, everyday people like you. And just a little bit about me. I actually met Nathan on that wonderful game called Fortnite,
mm. Don't tell people that.
as you
Don't
do
tell
sometimes, people. We have to
we
tell
have to
them. I
tell
feel like
people
it's a
that.
good
That's going to
idea.
come up for sure.
Yeah, I feel like they need to know the real and all on a raw, honest truth, really.
Because it's a social
And that's the
platform
raw,
too.
honest
Like
truth.
it's really about the
Oh,
social. It's not the game.
that's the only reason I play it. I mean, look, it's nice to play the game. Won't go into details with it, but that's how we met. And I think eventually we both want to exit the game
Mm,
when we level up our lives,
mm,
which is something that we've actually started doing now with this podcast. But that is how I met Nathan. And at the time that I met Nathan, I was running a million miles an hour. I didn't know who I was, didn't know what I wanted, and I was just in and out of these weird relationships that we all find on social medias of Tinder, Hinge, Bumble, and I was running myself into the ground. And when I met Nathan, he actually helped me begin to start over from the beginning.
mm,
So he is a very wise man and he will help you guys a lot, as much as he's helped me. And hopefully, by bringing me in, I'm able to show you what he's done for me and what I have done for him with the feminine side of
mm,
things. Um, I currently am studying still. I also have a job in youth work, and um, a lot of that has brought me to the point that I'm at today.
that's
And what
wonderful.
do you think about all that,
I
Nathan?
love that. I that is high praise. Actually, that's quite wonderful because I feel like that was such an interchange of we needed friends, each of us in this point in our life, and support. And I feel like we do this and we learn this, and only certain people can bring certain things out of you. So I appreciate this so much because I don't think I would have got through this year anywhere near intact as I have without
Mhm.
you as one of my support pillars.
Mhm.
And I don't work myself. I injured my back a lot of years ago, and I'm slowly rebuilding that as one of my things. And it's very difficult as a man to not have some sort of um, career purpose, I guess, like something to go to every day. And I guess that's
Mhm.
why I am in a position where I could extend offers of energy to people and yeah,
Through your
through my
tapping,
tapping, yeah.
because because as you guys will learn throughout this podcast, emotions are held in the body.
I love this.
So all these pains and things that we're feeling come from our emotions. And Nathan will be able to possibly help you release some of these emotions that your body is holding and the pain that you're holding on to.
Mm,
But that'll be discussed later further on in our podcast sessions. But wow, you're really sitting here thinking about like starting over. It's such a big, scary thing for people.
Mm.
Um, I think I've struggled with this concept for a very long time because starting over means starting from the beginning. And starting from the beginning is terrifying because you've already had all this life experience. And I think you look at other people in your position and you're like, starting from the beginning is scary
Mm.
because I think everyone's always waiting for when is it going to happen to me? When is it going to be my time? And that's something that I've struggled with for a very long time. And Nathan would know this. I bring it up quite often in our conversations. Looking at friends I've had in the past, looking at family who's having children and getting married and living in these marriages, and like deep down that you shouldn't be comparing your life to these people, but it's like an urge and a pattern that people like me have, where we sort of tether to that and go, well, why isn't my life like this? And I think that is one of the pinnacle points where you take the bull by the horns and go, I'm going to put me first,
Mm.
and stop sort of worrying about where everyone else is at, what everyone else is doing. And social media is a killer for that.
Oh,
It
yeah.
is so, so bad. And I'm sure Nathan will agree with me on
Yeah.
that pinpoint.
Yeah. It is a wonderful, terrible distraction of sort of this. It's like we don't realize how much we're comparing ourselves to the facade. And it's not true. Not everyone would have the facade. Some people have amazing lives. But the majority of people sort of tend to share just the best stuff or the perfect stuff or the most of our photos are like that throughout our life. Yeah, I'm showing my age there. I'm 45. Back in the good old
You old man.
1980s when we had cameras and we had to develop film.
Oh god. Remember that Kodak
Oh
store?
god,
Like, was it
Kodak was the
Kodak or something?
best.
Fucking Kodak?
Yeah,
God.
yeah. So I
Bloody hell.
guess people tend to think that this facade is the person's entire life. And it is so very difficult to feel
It's
good,
damaging.
right? Like,
Hmm.
how is my life good when I look at it in comparison? Because it's very true. If you're going to compare your life to someone's very well curated, even if they're further along the path than you, yeah, you're not doing as well as them. But is that the point? Like, part of this, I think this is part of the reason people get super afraid of starting over. They're kind of like, oh my god, I'm putting
Hmm.
myself back there, so far behind everyone else, and I got to catch up rather than be like, no, I'm going to rebuild the foundation and structure so well in the foreseeable future that I just won't know myself. And there won't even be those moments where I compare to somebody else and go, oh, I'm disappointed with my life. I'm going to look at that and go, oh my goodness, join me, start over. Like, let's do
Hmm.
something incredible in our own lives, which is I love that. I want everyone to do this for themselves, even in little parts. Like,
Oh,
where's a
100%.
part of your life you could start over that you're not? Let's select a little part that's like, what is one thing right now I'd like to start over with my health, with my physical strength or capacity or my knowledge base. There's an amazing one. You've been doing this when you've gone back to study with my
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
career or family or relationship. You've done a lot of this in the past year.
Yeah, it's kind of all. It's funny, I sort of don't look back and go. It's funny, you sort of don't look back and see how far you've come and appreciate it.
Mm,
You sort of you keep sort of, um, I'm trying to think of the words here, drawing upon those negative patterns. So Nathan and I have a big thing about patterns, and you'll learn more of why. Um, but we keep drawing on that pattern of it's still not enough,
mm,
and you need to do more. And I'm actually starting to learn, and something that Nathan has really taught me, and I'm hoping he'll teach you guys as well within this podcast, is that it is okay to make mistakes. Starting over means you've made some mistakes, and you're still going to make some mistakes, and you're still going to feel like you're stuck and you haven't accomplished anything. But making mistakes is how we grow and change and learn and thrive and be better versions of ourselves.
And I think there's...
And Nathan is a
Yes, please.
pinnacle for that.
Oh, that's wonderful. I think there's a not a disclaimer, a grain of salt that I kind of think with this as well. That's like an assessment to making mistakes, especially if you're in this position. That's like, mistakes are part of the process, but I know there's going to be people that are listening that are just going, wait, I can't make mistakes. You know what? There is situations where you're right. There is situations where there are certain mistakes that you're either living too close to destruction in some way, whether it be financially or you haven't got something in order in your life, and to take such a drastic risk and make a mistake in those moments will cause so much damage in your life that you may never get out, or it's going to take too much work to get out. So there is a really intelligent source in this, like, I'm not allowed to make mistakes. I actually think we're misusing it. I think this idea I'm never allowed to make any mistakes is like, oh, hang on, no, that's not true. It's actually necessary to get where you're going. It teaches you the most. But making mistakes without first analyzing a risk and going, will this take me out of the game, is too much. It's you must analyze this and put some sort of tool in place, some system before you take the leap, before you make the risk that goes, okay, this is the difference between, here's an illustration. The people that get in trouble with gambling, and I would never recommend gambling, the people who get in trouble with it are the people who can't afford what they're risking when they participate. The people that get in trouble with gambling are the people that can't afford what they're risking when they participate in it. So there's an amount of money that they've got that if they lose, they're in trouble. And it will be hard to come out of. They get in a lot of trouble. And yet there's other people who will go, no, I've gambled all my life. It's okay. I would say bet on yourself rather than trying to use gambling as a shortcut. But there is circumstances where if we use that in betting on yourself as well, you can be risking too much. So you're not in a position to take such a big risk. So that is a very, very handy thought of, no, that's too much of a mistake to make. Let's just like see if we can use that thought process for its design purpose. Yeah.
Yeah, so I can see where you're coming from with that. Like, obviously making mistakes with somewhat, I mean, like gambling addicts, the common sense is kind of blocked for them because it's become an addiction. But things like making mistakes in relationships, friendships, significant others, making mistakes in some life decisions, I suppose, with careers, money, like with savings and things like that. That has taught me that it's okay to start again and rebuild what you had sort of lost. And it will it will take time. It will take time. It will take time. It won't. It's not going to happen overnight, and we are very realistic about that.
And does it feel like failure to you? Do you feel like, oh, I'm starting over, I've failed? Have you reached a point where you've had that thought?
In the past, I have. I've had that thought that I've failed. I mean, I'm someone that still lives at home, but also economically, how is anyone my age by themselves going to afford to live somewhere? I mean, in my mind, rent, you may as well just be paying off your own home instead of renting. And I think a lot of other people are in my position where they live at home with their parents. That to me is probably where I sort of go, oh, am I failing?
Mm.
But when you reflect on it deeply, you're not failing. I'm safe. I have a roof over my head. I have a good job. I'm doing everything I can now to rebuild what I didn't have the capacity to build in my late 20s.
Mm. Oh yeah, I really like that. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm at a different level now. It's not so much of a, oh my goodness, I'm behind. It's, oh, what I know now and what I can build now. Oh,
Yeah.
that's wonderful. Okay, so maybe this is the first offer for people that are listening too, that I can make that offer for you too. Like, is there something at the moment you were just saying how you're in this position where you used to view things as a failure and having to start over felt a bit like that, but then you're starting to see the power in going, no, this is like a really good indicator for me of what I do and don't want my life to be like. Is there something right now lately that you're like, hey, I got a huge sort of a wake up call from something that was like, yeah, no, I don't want that. I most definitely want to build a different life than that. That you're like, hey, yeah, I could find that. Is there something that comes to mind now, or do you want to take a minute to think about it and see if there's something you can come up with recently that you're like, yeah, there is an offer that I noticed.
I think the biggest offer, and Nathan already knows this quite extensively because we do have our chats about it, is the end of my most recent relationship.
Mm.
I think that one really taught me, as much as I care about him. Night, Dad. As much as I see living at home, the perils of living at home, you're never left alone. But God bless him, he said good
I
night.
love that.
I think, yeah, that was probably my turning point, in all honesty. It was the moment that I finally chose myself and seen, it opened my eyes to the fact that someone is not going to come in on a big white horse and carry me away like all those Disney movies that we watched when we were younger. And just going to save me and sweep me off my feet and make my life easy and have the house that I can just contribute to because they've already got it, or have a family with, or, so I think that was probably the most recent thing that shifted my focus and made me realize it's time to go, you've done all you can here, and if someone's not willing to change, you need to choose yourself. As much as I care about that person and I want all the best for them, um, that was my pinnacle moment of, how about you save yourself instead of waiting for somebody else to save you?
Mm. I really like this.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Perhaps this can be part of the offer for our audience too, is to
yeah.
consider what is something been telling them in their life recently, and can they take that offer up to go, I'm going to save myself on that thing, even if it feels too much. Like, let's say, does it feel too much for you, Taylor?
Um, Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was easy. It's probably one of the hardest things I've ever done in my entire life.
Mm.
Because we'll get more into the relationship side of things later on. But with what I went through in that relationship, I poured a lot of my energy into trying to be what they needed me to be.
Mm.
And I've lost my train of thought. Nathan, can you bring me
Yeah,
back?
this is for you. Is it sort of feeling too much for you to go, oh, yep, I'm going to take responsibility for this part? And you've explained what that was recently with the relationship. And did it sort of
Yeah,
get too much?
no.
And did you have a path sort of evident to you to go, this is what I'll do?
Well, making the decision itself wasn't too much because I gave myself many, many options for them
Mm,
to choose a path that was going to alleviate them from the patterns that they were stuck in.
mm,
So I got to a point where I could be like, okay, I've done everything I can here. I cannot do this anymore. So I'm going to put that energy into myself and make the hard decision and go, no.
mm,
If you're not going to walk the path with me, then I need to take the path on my own. And when I made that decision, it was super tough. It wasn't easy.
mm,
I was quite devastated. I've been devastated for a long time actually.
mm,
But then actually bringing it to fruition and saying it out loud, it sort of makes it real, I
mm,
guess. And now that I've done it though, it doesn't feel too much.
mm,
It feels like it was the right decision, and it's become the driving force of change and growth and stability for myself to reach the goals that I want to reach and achieve.
You know what's interesting? As you're talking, I'm thinking from my own experience also in the conversations that we've had about it, this is not an instinct that was natural for you to choose either.
No, 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 my body screams the opposite. I'm a I'm a people pleaser through and through. Um, and I don't know about you guys, but when you're one thing, and this is what I think my partner had struggled with too, when you're one thing, trying to break those patterns hurts your entire soul because that's what you believe it should be.
Mm,
And then when you break that, you sort of release yourself and you somewhat become quite free. And I'm not saying I'm there. There is in no way am I fully healed or a healed person. Healing, I believe, is linear, and I think Nathan will back me up on that.
mm,
You will never ever stop healing. That's just the way it is. But you can break patterns and make changes that will allow you to reflect and start again.
mm. I like this a lot because there's a lot of, um, I guess, what we're calling it is sort of a support or encouragement to only do what feels comfortable and what is natural, and those things are not always serving us. They're not something that's creating new patterns or creating the life we want. I guess that's the best indicator. I've said this often, haven't I, about according to what
Mhm.
metric. It's like, well, the metric is what am I currently happy with my life? And it's like, well,
Mhm.
perhaps a different input will cause the different outcome. And it's like, well, that's a really uncomfortable input. And it's like, okay, but if the outcome is what you want, I'm kind of up for discomfort. Yeah.
No, not everyone's up for discomfort.
No.
I'm telling you, I fought Nathan a lot. I was like, but no, what if I just do this? But no, what if I just do that? Like, and the poor thing sitting there like, Taylor, come on, like, it's laid out on a platter for you. Like, let's go, girlfriend.
I love this though too because I feel
Like,
like resistance is it's so good to know, oh, I'm gonna have resistance to changing patterns that I'm stuck in.
oh, resistance will be the death of
And
me.
it's also it's not it's quite a lovely thing to think resistance is kind of your self-protection, trying to protect you. But once you're stuck in that place where it's no longer protecting you, you're like, okay, my resistance is not exactly calibrated to tell me the correct course. So it's okay to just not freak out if there's resistance and go, well, let's see what the results are like. But it's a lovely thing that's trying to protect you, and it's good to know that there's going to be. I have so much resistance every week. Every week I have resistance to doing tapping. I have resistance right now to doing it. I'm literally, I don't want to show people how to do it right now because I don't want to tap on myself right now because we're doing a podcast and I'm feeling pretty wound up and I don't want to relax. I want to be stressed. And for some reason, I'm stuck in this pattern of like, well, pay attention. Like cortisol's keeping you on track and focused. I don't want to tap right now.
Cortisol.
I'm going to. Yeah. This might be something I start to discuss next, but it's a wonderful tool to help you in those moments where your resistance is like, it feels like the water's starting to go over my head and I can't breathe. That's too much resistance to continue to just hold on your shoulders. Like there are other ways other tools to use for your resistance to not be so overwhelming and recalibrate it so that it's giving you correct information again and not causing this panic feeling in the body, which,
And I think that this is where the whole idea of our podcast comes from, with the starting over and the resistance and the change and the tough times and the feeling behind and stuck. This is where you're welcome to come and listen and get our points of view and know that you're writing in pencil and you can rub it out and start that line again. It's not permanent, and eventually and hopefully by listening to these podcasts you guys will be able to pick up a pen and put some permanent things down that you think you've made progress with, or things, even if they're just small things like tending to the garden of your mind. Put that down in pen. Like, you will be able to do that, I believe, by listening to us and learning and growing, and even listening to, like, we still listen to, well, who do we listen to, Nathan? Sarah Hensley and Mel Robbins, and TikTok's throwing things at me every day. And we come and we discuss them, and this is your place to be able to rub things out, to eventually be able to pick up that pen and go, yeah, starting over is not that bad.
Yeah. My thought process is, I love this. I love that we've come up with this title that was exactly how life is, that it's messy and it's not rigid, and there's so many opportunities for change because we often have this Eminem song playing in our heads that we've only got the one chance and this one opportunity, and we just don't. We have so many opportunities that keep popping up, and the more work you do, the more you actually realize the reason there's opportunities is because of people. People are the opportunities. Even people that are difficult in relationships, they're an opportunity for you to go, okay, I'm going to face my work. I'm going to heal my wounds. I'm going to look after my triggers, because that's basically what they're reminding me by simply being this close to me. And I just love this idea that we can turn up and we can share and start to realize we're all very much in the same boat, and we tend to compare ourselves to people we don't know, or people's curated lives online, or celebrities and people in a position where once you get to know them, you realize that they all have the same fears, the same stresses, the same triggers, the same patterns. We're all just very similar for such unique people, and we're all necessary. And I just think everybody has something that they could share. I'm very Van Wilder in this. Everybody has something cool. Everybody has something amazing to share. And there's very few select people on the planet that are not going to help you, even if they're enemies, even if they cause you to have to set boundaries with them, have to learn a new way of being, to
Boundaries,
look
I
after
hate that
yourself.
word.
Aren't the boundaries the
Yep.
most terrible thing? Yeah, I
Hmm.
appreciate this. Yeah. Okay. So, what's been difficult apart from the boundaries for you recently? This erasing and redrawing. What's been a difficult thing
Probably
for you?
believing in myself and believing of the capabilities that I have now that I've grown from in the past, and the whole, not only do you have resistance within yourself, but everybody around you will present resistance. Family will present resistance. Friends will feel resistant to your changes and who you're becoming and who you're trying to become for yourself, which then puts extra doubts into your mind, because it's like, am I supposed to plateau and just be stuck, or be something that they want me to be, rather than just being what I need to be for myself? So that's probably the most difficult one that I've encountered as of late.
And is there anything that's helping?
Probably fighting that resistance, learning to stand up for yourself.
This is amazing.
Learning to go, no, that doesn't align with my values, or no, you've crossed a line, or no, I don't appreciate that.
Literally practicing the new
Mm-hmm.
conscious choice to go, no, I'm going to have to speak up. This is amazing. I believe so strongly in this, because even when it comes to practical things, part of what I've struggled with is the consistency of it. And I've realized I'm extremely judgmental towards myself for failing. And that's just the all or nothing. And it's the just give up if you fall down a little bit, or if you judge it as a failure, you're just like, oh, well, I have to start all over again. It's not worth anything. And I've realized consistency is the key for how can I make things consistent every day and make it so it's doable. What is the resistance? What is in the way? How can I do this so it's actually achievable? How can I do it so the majority is achievable? That's an incredible term that I love. I look at the week as a week now and think, okay, I've set up some daily routines that I've slowly been adding to over the past 4 months, and I keep starting and stopping them. And I'm using them as indicators to say, right, that means I went too far too quickly and I collapsed. So I need to back up a little bit and make the increase to my routine a little more incremental, or a little less drastic. There's a less jump to the next stage, or the next even adding of something. And it's like, okay, I need more strength in this area. I need to build that up first. I need to figure out exactly why I'm struggling with this new thing. There was one thing I was working through, which was I was doing it every day too, and I realized I dreaded doing it because of this one stretch, because it put a lot of pressure on my back, and it made me feel like, oh, if my back goes at the moment, I'll be in trouble for quite a
Mm-hmm.
number of days. And so that level of stress, just every time I went to put on this video to watch and follow along on YouTube, I struggled to start it because that was in it. And it was the last stretch of the thing. The rest of it, I took it out, and the rest of it I could do so easily. I took the resistance point out and just went, I could do this, and my consistency is so much better. And I love that we can start to look at things. You can make the choice to start to look at things from this point of view of, okay, what is that telling me exactly? And drill right down as though we're searching for gold in the ground and find it. Because we're really good at hiding stuff from ourselves. Yeah.
And so, Nathan, what tools do you think would help our listeners
So
to possibly begin to start again in this crazy thing we call
So
life?
the first thing, you know what's interesting? I actually have found adding on to certain things that I'm doing already is so helpful. So we were talking before about the social media thing, and we've all heard things about dopamine addiction and what's good and bad for us. And you know what? I don't care. Like, for the moment, we're not at that stage yet. I'm not at the stage where I'm going to not use social media. I'm not at the stage where I'm not going to use gaming. So what we've started doing is trying to add on to those things. We tried to start a podcast on our gaming, and we realized it was quite difficult because we use gaming to relax and chat and catch up. And we weren't in a position to always record, and it was just complex. The system was complex to set up. This is why we're starting this podcast. But we were on the right track to use the systems that are already in place. If you're on social media, that's great. Let's take a section of time and let's use that wonderful Japanese philosophy on building habits and do it for 1 minute at a day at the same time every day. Is like, if that's my first minute in the morning, then I'm going to pick up my phone and I'm going to look at my phone like I do every day, but I'm not going to just scroll through for that minute. I'm going to search for the information that I would like to learn on relationships or coping mechanisms or things about myself, or I look inward and go, what do I need? What solution do I need? What problem do I have? And I start to search for it. And I just do that a minute a day and go, yep, that's where I start. And often I will fail. And it's like, sweet. But what I'm doing to start with is building the habit. The rest of the stuff will come if you just keep the habit, because you'll start to feel the good results, and that takes time. And that's an amazing tool to give yourself when you're thinking about starting some sort of new routine, new habit. It's so very achievable to think all I have to do today is that minute. I've added 1 minute to my day, and I'm going to do it for a while. And then I started to realize that I was doing things for 15 minutes at a time and thought, oh, wow, that's actually amazing. I've like 15x'd my input into this thing without trying. The other thing is the tapping. I've been doing tapping for 15 years. I was having a terrible episode where I was, let's say this next bit gets a little heavy, and I realize that some people are in positions where heavy is not something they can hear at the moment because it makes it harder for them, or it tends to lean on their sore spots or triggers, and they don't want to think about that stuff. That's okay. I'm about to talk about suicide, but it's a happy ending. The tool is what the main focus is. I was feeling suicidal. I had a protocol in place. I had to ring someone before I got serious about anything, and that was the first step I took. And I happened to ring my mum, who was in contact with one of her friends on the other side of the country, and they were doing calls online to do what she called tapping. And it is using this nerve clusters in the body, the same nerve clusters that they use in acupuncture, in massage, you've heard about them all your life. They're just electrical pathways in the body, little conduits that run through the body and send signals. And there's little clusters where they overlap. And they realized at one point they took this ancient knowledge and used it in psychology, and they built a system where they realized you can tap on specific clusters on your body whilst you're focusing on a specific psychological element, and you can access the part of the brain that you can turn down like a dimmer switch, the section of the brain that takes over and it turns on the fight or flight mechanisms.
And you know what I
in the
just want to
body.
add into? You know what's really cool about tapping that Nathan's talking about is that people do it unconsciously. We do it all the time. You'll put your hand on your head to try and calm yourself down. You'll tighten a hug around yourself when you feel like you need to calm down. This is just more of a professional outlook and a few more points in the body that you can resonate with and use in a heightened state.
And there's really, it's so refined now. It's so quick. There's one I do every day, and I set the timer. It's in my routine for 5 minutes, and it's so quick that I work on it every single day on just whatever the thing is. I don't want to do this today. That's what I work on. Whatever the most current thing that pops into my head. But I do work with clients, and we do full sessions where we dig deeper and discover the origins of where these patterns and habits and negative belief systems and the way they live their life and conduct themselves come from. And we help sever that connection so that it no longer has this impact where this section of the brain takes over and causes havoc, and basically you're not in control because it's just in full protection mode. And it's the same part of the brain. Your brain just selects it. We either run, fight, or freeze. And so many of us are in this freeze now. We're just stuck. How many times, is there a place in your life you could say that you have been stuck yourself? How about you, Taylor?
Oh, there's been many times. I think I've been stuck.
Mm.
I think I've lived my whole entire life in fight mode.
Yeah. And people can become so accustomed to this that they feel like they're at a rested state when they are just at their normal panic. And that's how they always lived, and they just know no different. And how you know you're like that is you do some of this tapping and incredible things happen. Sometimes you'll fall asleep, you'll start yawning, you're thinking about it. I can feel my muscles starting to relax right now, but there was an amazing time I was doing it with Tayla, and she got a physical pain in her body that we actually chased around the body, and it was trying to get away because we were working on it, and it moved to a different part of the body, like it was no longer being held there. It wasn't stuck there in the body,
Yeah,
and
it's
it
like an
shifted
electrical
along.
current. You can feel it.
Yeah. So I love to think of it like this, a tuning of the nervous system. And it's to be able to get yourself back to this state where all of you is there and present. And it's not just this fight, flight, frozen section that's running things and you're on autopilot. all those times you feel like I'm foggy in my mind, or I can't concentrate, or I can't learn this, or I can't sit still, or I can't move, or I can't get up, or all these can'ts and limitations, and I'm not that person, or I used to be like this, or this is what I believe now, or all of these things can be affected by this process that you can teach to children. And you can do it on yourself and just copy and follow along on the points, because there's 3 reasons it won't work. It's not going to work if you're not on the right points. It's not going to work if you're not on a core thing. You could be tapping on something, but there's an underneath foundation to it. So you just got to dig down further and be more specific and be on the core thing, be on the points, on the core thing. Or it's, oh, I've actually put the 3rd thing out of my mind. There's 3 reasons tapping won't work. You're not on the points, you're not on the core, you're not being specific enough. Okay, so I included those 2 in. Be more specific and be on the core and be on the points, and you will get a result from it. I do hesitate to say that because so many people just go, this is too good to be true. And I just say, okay, sweet, let's do it. Let's just do it. There's so many out there for free. There's so many on YouTube that you can follow along. They'll tell you where the points are. All the information's out there for free. It's very difficult when your body is trying to protect itself to find things that are buried deep down in the core, which is why practitioners have come up and are in need. But you could access it now and actually get relief immediately. And there are times when you're delving into the core where it feels very overwhelming because you're basically bringing up a trigger to the surface. So it's right there. You're experiencing it. And if you just keep going through it and not stay there, you'll sever that connection where it no longer can float up. It floats up and out. It's gone. And it's incredible how much that changes your life. To the point where I'll explain something recently that happened to me. I did some tapping with my friend. She took me through a session. We wanted to do it on specific foods. I went to the supermarket afterwards to get shopping, and I was in the habit of walking down the lolly aisle and picking up whatever lollies I felt like. And I did this. I walked in and walked down the same aisle that I always go down and searched for the lollies that I wanted. And I looked at all the ones that I normally get. And I looked at the other ones that I don't normally get. And I realized I didn't want any of them. And we'd done a lot of work. I'm going to say that. We did a lot of work on this. It wasn't just a single session that did this. This was a big part of my childhood's foundation. So we had to do a bit of work on this. That's why some things will disappear in one session and some things will take time. It all depends on each person. So I'm walking down the aisle and I'm searching, and I just got to a point where my brain offered up a whole different thought that I hadn't had ever, which was, I don't want any of these. What do I actually want to eat? That's sweet. And I wanted fruit. I wanted fruit as my sweet thing. And there's probably people going to be out there that are like, oh no, I hate fruit. But the point is, I was able to listen to my body. And I'm a person who loves fruit. I love that sweetness. That's a dessert to me. And I went and got it. And I was so fulfilled. And I didn't have the spike in glucose that you get from that processed sugar. And I just felt so good after it. And the struggle didn't happen. I didn't fight myself. I didn't force myself. It just severed the connection so that I was able to make a choice and even have that thought, to even ask myself that question. This is an incredible tool. Tapping will be of so much use in people's lives to get where they want to go with whatever they're
Yeah,
focused
and
on.
as these podcasts go on, Nathan will be able to explore some more times you'll be able to use tapping, and he'll go through some sessions with you guys, and you'll be able to try it for yourselves and see if it works and something that you might be interested in. I think maybe we should wrap up our first podcast, Nathan. I think
Yes, I
we've
agree.
we've uncovered a lot of truths here and a lot of honesty, and we're ready to share our stories with you and hopefully resonate the best that we can and really delve into conversations in pencil, a rough draft.
Perfect. So, until next time, then, let's remember the beauty of life is that you can always erase, redraw, and keep creating. It's been a pleasure to have a
Pleasure's
conversation
all
with you,
mine,
Tayla.
Nathan. Bye,
We'll
guys.
see you next time.
Right key sliding, playful and quirky. Brass punches, sharp and perky. Baseline dances, feeling